Alright, today we're going to change the brake pads on my wife's 2007 RAV4. Tools you're going to need to do this are a 14mm socket, a 17mm wrench, a C-clamp to compress your caliper, a torque wrench to get your lug nuts off and back on at the right setting, zip ties to hold your brake caliper out of the way while you're working, and some snips to cut it back down and cut those zip ties. These are some picks and stuff like that to change the clips that hold the brake pads in place. A light is handy for when you're doing that job. I've got an impact wrench, it's absolutely not necessary. Some brake disc cleaner or brake cleaner. I have some WD-40 as well, and of course the new brake pads. And you're going to need some way to lift your car up. You can use the jack that came with your car, or you can have a nice floor jack like I've been fortunate enough to pick up. And then I've got some jack stands under there to just help make it extra safe. And while I'm doing this, I'm going to rotate the tires too, so the jack stands are necessary. There you have it. Let's get started. Okay, so what we're looking at here, this is your rotor, if you need an education on this. This is your caliper, and in there is your brake pad. That's what we're going to get at. These are the clips we'll replace. One of them we actually have to transfer off the old brake pad onto the new brake pad. Alright, so what we're looking at here is the brake caliper. We're going to remove these two screws. There's one at the top and one down here at the bottom. So you can see that. These are the 14mm nuts. This is the 17mm nut up here. And this just holds it still while you're ratcheting on those nuts in the back there. Okay, so I have to make a little zip tie contraption here because I don't have a long zip tie, so I'm just stringing a few of them together. But we'll slide this off and then tie it up to the coilover up here. Alright, pull this guy off. Okay, so the point of this is to zip tie it up so that we're not putting any strain on the hoses that are holding it there, because a lot of people will dangle it there. It's really not good for those lines, so don't dangle it, zip tie it up. Okay, so what we're looking at here are the old pads. You can see on my wife's car they are pretty worn down. She's borderline IndyCar driver, so she's not light on the brakes. There you go, they slide right out. You can see these clips. Okay, so this is the old pad. You can see how thick it is. I'll show you it against a new pad. We're going to transfer this clip that's at the top of this over to the new pad. And there's obviously one on the other side too, so you'll get both of those and transfer those clips. These clips, depending on their condition, the kit that I bought with from Duralast came with new clips, so I'll replace them just because I have them. But it's up to you whether you want to or not. It just depends on if yours are in bad shape. So again, this is the old pad. This is the new pad. So you can tell the difference between the two of them. This is why we replace pads. Alright, there it is, transferred over. Not sure why it didn't come with my clip, or with my kit rather, but I'll take it. So I'm going to show you how to do one of these clips. To replace a clip here. So this is the clip I'm talking about. Just press down on it, pull on it a little bit. You'll get it out of there. Oh lordy. Nice. Now that clip is missing. Landed in my tray. That's the old clip. Old clip. New clip. So we'll put the new one in. You can see it's got a tab. Basically snap it behind and slide it up over the front. And there's a new clip in place. Old clip, new clip. Okay, so this is the old pad coming off on the inside. A little bit of a pain. Can't slide it straight out. So there's the old pad out. Okay, so I've replaced the clips that I could. Duralast actually didn't include clips for the entire thing for me. They only included one type numerous times, so I didn't have enough clips to replace all of them, but you know, my clips fortunately were in good enough shape that I don't care. What I've done so far here is I've taken some of the brake cleaner, sprayed off the disc and sprayed off the you know, the clip areas and the inside of the caliper itself, so this is all sprayed out and cleaned right now. Now we're gonna install the new pads and compress the caliper. Putting in the new pads is pretty straightforward stuff. Just kind of slides in there, and you'll have to fidget around with it a little bit to get it to go in between the clips correctly, but it's very simple. Slide it into the clip. That's how you put in a new pad. Pretty basic stuff. Okay, before you compress your brake caliper, you want to check your brake fluid. In this car it's just under the max line, so we're good. But keep an eye on it as you're compressing that caliper so that you don't overfill it, because brake fluid is pretty corrosive stuff. You really don't want to have it squirting out of the vent on the cap there. Okay, now what we're going to do is compress the caliper, this piston. So what we're going to do is take an old brake pad and our C-clamp. We're going to fish the C-clamp around. There should be a flat hard spot in the back of your caliper for you to line that up with, so that you're not doing any damage. Make sure you're not pinching any lines back there, and then just start gradually compressing it. It doesn't take a ton of force. Just take your time, and then it'll compress. And just keep doing it until it's flat, because that'll give you the room that it takes to get over the new thicker pads. You can see it's compressing, and I'm not giving it just but finger pressure. I mean, this is very gentle. It's getting out of the way, so you don't have to really fight it if it's not moving super fast. That's what it's supposed to do, so just take it easy on it. And there it's completely flat. And I'll loosen it up and get this old pad out of there. And then take off the C-clamp. Alright, so you can see that is compressed. Now that makes it so we can fit it over the new pads, which are quite a bit thicker than the old pads that had worn down. Something else to point out is that these guys here, these bolts, are on a slide, so you need to push them in as well to allow you to put the new caliper back on there, because the thickness of the pads will push that whole thing over to the side. But piece of cake. From here on out, you're just going to put a little bit of the brake ease stuff, and they include it in this kit. It's a little bit of it's like a pouch. This isn't soy sauce. This is the stuff that's going to keep the brakes from squealing. So I like to stick it directly onto this rather than on the brake pad, because this is really where it belongs. Spread it around with your gloves. Don't be shy. Get some on this side too. Your front. There you go. Okay, now we're going to take our snips, cut down the caliper, get this out of the way, slide this into place. Take your nuts. Rock it around a little bit to feel when you're in the right spot. Doesn't feel right. There it goes. Alright. And just finger tight, and then crank them down very tight with the wrench. Okay, now that we have the brake back together, the next step is to seat the brakes. And in order to do that, you just go into the interior of the car, you sit down on the driver's seat, and press down on the brake pedal. So you can see the reservoir rose up quite a little bit, just getting the fluid out of the brake caliper itself. So when we hit the brakes, that should go back down a little bit as it fills that caliper. Okay, I wanted to show you the brake pedal piece of this because you don't want to put a ton of pressure on it, you just want to barely do it, but it will go all the way to the floor on this first press. And that's because it's filling up the brake caliper. So just do that real slow because you don't want to push it too fast or you'll agitate the fluid and you can get air in it that way. But just do it and then you'll feel it firm up. So that means we've got pressure in our system, and that's really the object that we want. So now it's a rock hard pedal. Perfect. So our brake fluid did go down a little bit after we pumped the pedal. So we're good to go. And we just have to do the other side and we'll be done with this deal. I'm not going to show you how to put the wheel back on. I figure if you're doing your own brakes, you get how to put a wheel lug nuts back on in a star pattern. So good luck to you. Thanks for watching.